Hey folks, Ted here today with Exped and the Exped SynMat HL Duo. We like to get out in the backcountry. We like to go do long, fast and light hiking trips, but really we like to do it with our partners. And this is one of those mats that really changes the game for everybody out there. If you look at the size of this mat is teeny tiny, it's super light, and it's for two people. That's really important. This is smaller than most of the mats that we usually use as a one-person mat. And that makes getting out there more comfortable, really nice to sleep on, and no cold spots. And I'm going to show you how this all comes together. This mat, by the way, in 2016 when we first introduced it, was sort of an earth-shattering design because it's the first backpackable two-person mat that's out there. And we've updated it, and then I'm going to show you some of the new updates that we've done. That'll include the schnozzle pump bag, that'll include the grip skin, and we've also introduced a new size. This one, we first did it, was done in a size medium, and now we also do it in a long wide, so that those people that are taller or just want more space or have a bigger tent to fill up can go ahead and use that. So those two sizes really make a big difference. So inside of this little teeny tiny package is a schnozzle pump bag. I'll show you how that works for inflation. There's a repair kit attached to every single stuff sack, and inside is the mat. When I take this mat and roll it out, you'll notice that there's a gray side and there's an orange side. Gray side is the bottom, orange side is the side that you sleep on. And when it comes time to inflate it, we use the schnozzle pump bag. Yeah, I could sit there and blow into the mat, put a lot of damp, moist air on the inside. That's what a lot of people do with their mats. Or I can go ahead and use the schnozzle pump bag, puts dry, clean air on the inside. Now, on the SynMat HL Duo, we've gone ahead and put an inflate and a deflate valve on both sides, and I'll show you how that works. So open up the inflate valve, it's a flat valve. Take the schnozzle pump bag, lock it on, snap it on like so. And now we'll just take the schnozzle pump bag, hold it open. It'll capture a little bit of air, give it a little bit of a twist like that, a couple of rolls. And now we're just going to go ahead and push the air onto the inside of the mat. It's fast, it's easy, it's dry, and no humidity going inside the mat. And I'd say roughly each side will take about 2 bagfuls. So get that open like so. Obviously, with this much air, you'd be sitting there and blowing for a long time to get a mat like this inflated. So once I'm all set to go, I like to inflate it fairly firm. Lock that off. Now I go to the other side. You'll notice that there are 2 chambers to this mat, one on each side, and that becomes particularly advantageous when you're talking about dialing in your comfort level. Some people like to sleep on a really firm mat, and other people like to have a little bit softer mat, and this allows each person on their own side to figure out exactly what's most comfortable for them. So as you can see, this mat inflates pretty quickly. There's one bag and one more here. Get that all the way inflated. Top it off. Again, I like to start off with a mat fairly firm, and then I can go ahead and soften it if I need to. There's the inflate, deflate, deflate for each side. Now I'm going to go ahead and take the mat and flip it over. And there you can see the broad, expansive space to work with. This is, again, a size medium, so it's effectively 2 medium-sized mats put together. The long wide are 2 long wide mats put together, and this will fill up, in the size medium, will fill up an ultralight 2-person tent really nicely. A long wide will just fit in and fits into bigger tents, no problem whatsoever. So, big expanse, and when you use a mat like this, there are no cold spots in the middle. So you don't have to worry about trying to get 2 mats tied together and have them to shift overnight. This is just one big insulated, comfortable floor to work on the inside of the tent with. Now, like all of our mats with vertical baffles, we keep the outer rails slightly larger. Those air rails on the outside help to keep you centered and allow you to know when you're at the edge of your mat without actually going off to figure that out. That's pretty nice. The other thing that we talked about was that baffle. You saw that I inflated 2 different sides. That's pretty important because if this was just one big air cell, when you get in on one side of the tent, somebody else is going to get bounced off the other side. By having this separate divider wall right there, It allows one person to roll around on this side of the mat without disturbing this person. It really insulates both sound-wise and comfort-wise all night long. And as we talked about earlier, it also lets you determine how firm you like your side of the mat. So all kinds of advantages to having that separating baffle down the center. Really makes a big difference. You'll also notice that on another update that we did to this particular mat is to go ahead and put the grip skin surface on it. The grip skin surface is this texture, this honeycomb texture you see right here. It's kind of variegated. That actually gives the mat a little bit more traction, if you will. So if you're using a really slick sleeping bag that can slide off, or you're sliding off in the middle of the night, this grip skin surface keeps that from happening. It's just a little more friction, keeps you in place. By the same token, it's not so grippy that it forces you to roll off every time you turn around in your sleeping bag. So lots of different options there. It's really, really quite effective that way. Super light and super small. Now, when it comes time to deflate everything, I like to go ahead and just reach underneath and open up the deflate flat valves. In this case, open it up right here. On this side, open it up right here. The air drops right out real quickly. I'm going to go ahead and take the whole mat, fold it in half. I'm just going to go ahead and squeeze it all the way out. Drops to the ground pretty quickly like that. I like to point out that this is a solid 3-season mat. Works really well spring, summer, fall, shoulder seasons because of the insulation. Each one of the cells has insulation on the inside of it that's bonded to both the top surface and the bottom surface. So when I take the schnozzle pump bag and inflate it, I'm stretching that insulation to fill the entire cell on the inside, which gives you the nice R value that you really, really want. Keeps you warm at night. Squeezing all the air out of the mat. And then I'm going to go ahead and roll the whole thing up. As you can see, the package gets really small, and it makes an incredible scenario for 2 people in the backcountry. Squeeze all the air out, lock off the flat valves, and drop it right inside of the stuff sack. Now, the other thing I like to keep in mind is that the schnozzle pump bag that comes with the whole setup, this guy right here, is waterproof and it's taped. I like to use this for stuffing all my sleeping bags on the inside, rolling it down, and then I have a nice dry storage for any sleeping bag. So in effect, this weighs nothing because you're replacing your sleeping bag stuff sack with this particular piece. So between the 2 setups right here, schnozzle pump bag and this great mat, there's 2 people out there going to have a great adventure. See you out on the trail.